There is a letter, a correspondence written nearly 2,000 years ago that speaks more clearly to our modern financial anxiety than any headline published today. It wasn't written by an economist or a hedge fund manager, but by a man named Seneca, a philosopher, a statesman, and one of the wealthiest men in the entire Roman Empire. He was writing to his friend Lucilius, but in truth, he was writing to us. He was writing to the part of our soul that feels trapped, the part that equates our net worth with our self-worth, the part that is drowning in the noise of consumerism. We live in a world that screams at us from every glowing screen that we are not enough. You need more. You need the newer car, the bigger house, the more exclusive vacation. We are told that financial independence is a number, a finish line somewhere in the distant future where we can finally rest. And so we hustle, we grind, we chain ourselves to desks and spreadsheets, our hearts heavy with a quiet desperation. We are chasing a phantom, a form of wealth that seems to only move the goalposts further away the closer we get. We are drowning in debt, not just financial debt, but a spiritual debt. A debt we owe to our own potential, to the quiet moments we sacrifice in the name of more. And we are slaves, as Seneca would say, not to a master, but to our own appetites, to our own fear of missing out. We are trapped in a golden cage, and many of us have forgotten that the door has been unlocked this entire time. The key is not in our bank accounts, it is in our minds, it is in the letters of this ancient Stoic. What if true financial independence was not about becoming fantastically rich? What if it was instead a state of mind, a radical redefinition of wealth that has the power to set you free right now, today, regardless of the number in your account? This is the promise of Seneca's wisdom. It is a guide to navigate the treacherous waters of modern finance, not with complex charts, but with timeless principles of virtue, reason, and emotional resilience. This is a journey to reclaim your mind, your time, and your life. Over the course of our time together, we will unseal these ancient letters. We will pull this profound wisdom from the dust of history and apply it to the most pressing financial problems of our age. The crushing weight of debt, the addictive pull of consumerism, the anxiety of investing, and the paralyzing fear of poverty. We will learn how to desire less, how to find joy in what we have, and how to build a fortress of inner peace that no market crash or financial setback can ever tear down. This is not just another video about money. This is a mission. We are attempting to start a quiet revolution, a movement of people dedicated to finding tranquility and purpose in a world obsessed with noise and accumulation. If this mission resonates with you, if you feel that pull in your heart for something deeper, then please support this channel by clicking the like button and, most importantly, subscribing. It is a small click, but it is a powerful statement that you are ready for a different conversation. Your subscription is what allows us to keep this sanctuary alive. It tells the digital world that these ideas matter, that this ancient wisdom is needed now more than ever. Each new subscriber is a fellow traveler, another soul joining us on this path from financial slavery to true internal freedom. You are not just watching a video, you are joining a modern school of philosophy, a community dedicated to building a life of meaning. Thank you for being a part of this. Seneca opens his correspondence with a bracing, powerful truth. He writes to his friend, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Read that again. Let it sink into your bones. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. By this definition, our society, one of the wealthiest in all of human history, is suffocating in a self-imposed poverty. We are a culture of craving, and it is making us miserable. This is the engine of consumerism. It is a machine designed to manufacture craving. It studies your insecurities, your desires, your deepest longings, and it whispers to you that the solution can be bought. It tells you that your loneliness can be cured with a new gadget. your insecurity with a new brand of clothing, your boredom with a new form of entertainment. It is a relentless assault on your contentment, designed to keep you on a treadmill of wanting, working, and spending. The modern man scrolls through his social media feed, a curated gallery of other people's apparent perfect lives. He sees the vacations, the cars, the happy, smiling families, and with each swipe, his own life feels a little more dull, a little more inadequate. He is comparing his unfiltered reality to someone else's highlight reel. This constant comparison is a form of self-torture, a breeding ground for the very craving that Seneca identified as the root of all poverty. This digital envy is a poison. It makes us chase a life that is not our own. It leads to what we now call lifestyle creep. You get a raise, and instead of seeing it as an opportunity for freedom, for saving, for investing, you see it as an opportunity to upgrade your consumption. Your expenses magically rise to meet your new income. Your car gets a little more expensive, your apartment a little bigger, and just like that, you are back to zero, trapped with golden handcuffs. Seneca provided the antidote. He said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." But he also gave us a practical exercise. He called for voluntary poverty. This is not about becoming destitute. It is about intentionally, for a few days at a time, living on the bare minimum. "Set aside a certain number of days," he wrote, "during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" Imagine the power of this. You spend a weekend eating only simple rice and beans, drinking only water, wearing your oldest clothes, seeking no expensive entertainment. What would you discover? You would discover that you are fine. You would discover that your happiness is not dependent on gourmet food or new possessions. You would discover your own resilience. You would, in effect, be confronting your deepest fear, the fear of losing it all, and realizing that it holds no real power over you. When you have done this, when you have looked poverty in the face and realized you can endure it, you have broken the back of consumerism. The advertiser's whisper loses its demonic power. The new car, the luxury watch, they become what they truly are, just things. They are no longer a requirement for your happiness. You have purchased your freedom from wanting. This is a wealth that no one can ever tax and no market crash can ever take away. This practice gives you a new superpower, the power of no. When you are faced with a purchase, you can now genuinely ask, does this truly add value to my life, or am I just scratching an itch? You can walk away from a sale with a smile, not feeling deprived, but feeling powerful. You are the master of your appetites, not their slave. This is the first crucial step toward genuine financial independence, liberating your mind from the prison of manufactured desire. Now let us talk about the crushing weight of debt. Debt, in the Senecan view, is one of the most virulent forms of modern slavery. He wrote, "A man in debt is so far a slave." This is not a metaphor. When you are in debt, you are not your own. Your time is not your own. You wake up every morning working for someone else, not just your employer, but for your creditors. Your future labor is already claimed. You are running a race with a heavy chain around your ankle. This is not just about the numbers, it is about the psychological toll, the sleepless nights, the knot of anxiety in your stomach, the shame and secrecy, the way it poisons your relationships, the way it narrows your world, making you unable to take a risk on a new career, to move to a new city, or even just to take a day off. You are trapped. Your decisions are made from a place of desperation, not a place of freedom and reason. The high-interest credit card, the predatory payday loan, the buy now, pay later scheme, these are the modern slave traders. They offer a momentary hit of pleasure, the instant gratification of a purchase, in exchange for a long-term contract on your freedom. They are exploiting that part of us that Seneca warned against, the inability to delay gratification, the craving for more right now at the expense of our future tranquility. So how does a Stoic get out of debt? Not with a complicated financial product, but with a fierce and unwavering application of virtue. They apply the virtue of discipline. They create a rational plan, a budget, which Seneca would call living according to nature, and they stick to it with the determination of a soldier. They see their budget not as a restriction, but as their battle plan for liberation. They apply the virtue of temperance. They embrace the voluntary poverty we just discussed. They cut their expenses down to the bone, not with a sense of misery, but with a feeling of joyous rebellion. Every latte they skip, every subscription they cancel, every dinner at home instead of out, is a blow against their chains. They are buying back their freedom, one small disciplined decision at a time. This is not deprivation. It is a righteous fight for their own soul, and they apply the virtue of courage, the courage to face the numbers, the courage to stop the compare and despair cycle, the courage to tell their friends, "I can't go out tonight, I'm saving money," and more the courage to live differently, to reject the cultural script that says your worth is measured by your spending. This is the hard, internal work that must be done before the first dollar of debt can ever be repaid. Seneca himself was enormously wealthy, a fact his critics often used against him, but his defense was powerful and deeply instructive for us. He argued that wealth, for a Stoic, is a preferred indifferent. It is not a good in itself, like virtue, nor is it an evil. It is merely a tool. It is preferred because it provides more opportunities to practice virtue, generosity, moderation, justice, but it is indifferent because it has zero bearing on your true happiness or character. He wrote, "For the wise man, wealth is a slave. For the fool, it is a master." This is the entire philosophy in a single line. Are you the master of your money, or is it the master of you? If you are riddled with anxiety about your investments, if you are trapped in debt by your desires, if your mood is dictated by the stock market, your money is your master. You are its slave, no matter how much of it you have. The Stoic, Seneca argued, can be wealthy, but they must hold that wealth with an open hand. They must be able to see it all go, to lose it all in a shipwreck or a bad turn of fortune and remain completely tranquil. Their happiness, their core being, is not invested in their possessions. It is invested in their character, their virtue, which no external event can ever touch. This is the goal. This is why the practice of voluntary poverty is so critical, even for the wealthy. It is a dress rehearsal for loss. It is a way of constantly reminding yourself that your true wealth is internal. The man who has practiced this can say with a bold heart, as Seneca wrote, "I was not and am not dismayed. I have not been crushed. I have learned to distinguish between what is mine and what is not. Your portfolio is not yours. Your character is." This brings us to the modern anxiety of investing. We watch the markets with a frantic obsession. We are terrified of missing out on the next big thing and equally terrified of losing what we have. Our emotions are a pendulum, swinging wildly between the greed of a bull market and the fear of a bear market. We are back to being slaves, this time to the digital ticker, to the pronouncements of financial gurus, to the chaotic noise of the crowd. What would Seneca say to the modern investor? He would first remind us of the dichotomy of control, a concept perfected by his fellow Stoic, Epictetus. We must separate what is in our power from what is not. What is the stock market's performance tomorrow? Not in our power. What is the next interest rate decision? Not in our power. What is the emotional panic of other investors? Not in our power. To waste a single moment of our precious mental energy on these things is the definition of madness. So what is in our power? Our savings rate, our decision to diversify, our asset allocation, our research, our discipline, and most importantly, our reaction to market events. The market will do what it will do. It is an external force, like the weather. The fool rails against the rain. The wise man, Seneca would say, simply gets an umbrella. Your rational, disciplined financial plan is your umbrella. Seneca would also tell us to despise all the things that useless toil procures. The man who spends 8 hours a day trading, his eyes bleeding, his nerves frayed, his family neglected, all in an attempt to beat the market by a percentage point. What has he gained? He may have more money, but he has lost his time, his peace, and his life. He has made a terrible trade. A Stoic values their time and tranquility far more than a speculative gain. This is why a Stoic investor would almost certainly be a passive, long-term index fund investor. This strategy is pure applied Stoicism. It is an act of humility, admitting you cannot predict the future. It is an act of discipline as you set it and forget it, refusing to be swayed by the market's daily madness. And it is an act of wisdom, as it frees your time and mental energy to focus on what actually matters: your work, your family, your character. Seneca's letters are a constant meditation on time. While we are postponing, life speeds by, he warned. We are frugal in guarding our personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, we are most extravagant with the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. And how much of our precious, unrecoverable time do we squander in anxious financial management? How many hours are lost to scrolling stock charts or worrying about a recession? Financial independence, in the Senecan view, is not just about having enough money. It is about reclaiming your time. It is about reaching a point where your money is working for you, quietly and rationally in the background, so that you can be fully present in your own life. So you can use your days not in service to your portfolio, but in service to your purpose, your loved ones, and your own personal growth. This requires a profound shift in your goals. The goal is not to get rich. The goal is to be free. And freedom is found in two ways, which must be pursued together. First, by simplifying and reducing your desires, as we have discussed. The man who needs less is already free. Second, by building a base of productive assets, a financial fortress that can provide for your simplified needs, independent of your daily labor. This is the balanced, rational path. It is not the path of extreme frugality, where one lives in misery to save every penny. The Stoics were not ascetics. They enjoyed the good things in life, but they refused to be enslaved by them. And it is not the path of reckless accumulation, where one sacrifices their health and peace of mind for more. It is the middle path, the path of conscious, intentional living, where money is a servant to your freedom, not the other way around. Let's talk about those moments of financial panic. The market crashes. Your net worth is cut by 30% in a month. Your job feels insecure. This is the moment the philosopher's training is tested. The unstoic mind is flooded with cortisol. It panics. It sells at the bottom. It makes catastrophic, fear-based decisions. The mind, as Seneca would say, has been broken by fortune. But what about the Stoic? The Stoic has practiced for this. They have practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They have, in their mind, already lost all their money. They have already visualized a market crash. They have rehearsed this scenario. And because they have faced it in their imagination, when it arrives in reality, it has lost its power to shock. It is an expected event. Seneca wrote, "What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect. The wise man anticipates the coming of troubles." The emergency fund is the most basic form of this. It is a practical admission that bad things will happen, but the mental practice is even more powerful. By expecting the storm, you are not terrified when it arrives. You can calmly look at the chaos and say, "I have prepared for this. I will stick to my plan." This is how you turn a crisis into an opportunity. When everyone else is panic selling their assets at rock-bottom prices, the Stoic, who has their emotions in check and perhaps some dry powder saved for this very moment, can act rationally. They can buy quality assets when they are on sale, courtesy of the market's panic. This is how generational wealth is built, not on complex predictions, but on simple, unbreakable emotional discipline. Seneca constantly reminds us that the universe is indifferent to our desires. Fortune is a fickle mistress. She gives and she takes away, with no regard for our feelings. The only thing we can truly rely on, the only good that cannot be taken from us, is our own rational, virtuous response. This is our inner citadel. The market can take your money. It cannot take your courage. It cannot take your discipline. It cannot take your wisdom. That is your true wealth. This is a profound comfort. It means that even in the midst of the most devastating financial loss, you are not truly harmed. You have simply been given a new, more challenging opportunity to practice virtue. You can practice the virtue of courage in the face of fear, the virtue of resilience as you rebuild, the virtue of temperance as you live on less. The loss becomes, as Marcus Aurelius would say, fuel for the fire, material for your own character growth. This is amor fati, the love of your fate. It is the ability to look at a financial loss and say, this is what happened. It is now part of my story. How can I use this to become a better, stronger, wiser person? This is the alchemy that turns the lead of misfortune into the gold of character. The person who can do this is invincible. No financial event can ever truly defeat them, because every event, good or bad, serves to make them better. But this is not just a defensive philosophy, it is also a guide to proactive, positive living. Seneca's letters are filled with injunctions to live, to not postpone your life until you reach some financial milestone. You are living as if destined to live forever, he chides. It never occurs to you how much time has already passed. You are squandering what is given, as if from a full and overflowing supply. The person who says, I will travel when I retire, or I will spend time with my children when I get this promotion, is committing a spiritual crime. In the Stoic view, they are trading the certain, precious present for an uncertain, unguaranteed future. The Stoic, having simplified their needs, finds ways to live now. They find joy in a simple walk, in a deep conversation, in reading a good book. They do not need $1 million to start living. Financial independence, then, is a present tense activity. It is the daily act of choosing reason over impulse. It is the daily practice of gratitude for what you have, rather than pining for what you don't. It is the daily choice to invest your time, your most valuable asset, in things that truly matter. You can be financially independent in your mind long before your bank account reflects it. And in fact, you must be, or the money will never be enough. This is the great paradox of wealth that Seneca understood so well. If you do not conquer your desires, no amount of money will ever make you rich. You will simply be a wealthy slave, your desires growing in lockstep with your portfolio. But if you do conquer your desires, if you cultivate your internal world, you will be rich immediately. The money then becomes a secondary, useful tool, not the primary, desperate goal. This is a message that cuts through the heart of our modern financial industry, which is almost entirely focused on more returns, more products, more complexity. Seneca's message is a bracing call for less craving, less fear, less attachment. And in this less, we find more than we ever dreamed of. More peace, more time, more freedom, more of our own lives. So, let's make this practical. What are the Senecan financial habits? First, a monthly fear-setting exercise. Sit down and practice that premeditatio malorum. What if you lost your job tomorrow? What if the market crashed 50%? Write down your fears and then write down a concrete, rational plan for how you would handle it. This transforms vague anxiety into a solvable problem. You are building your resilience. Second, practice regular, voluntary simplicity. Pick 1 or 2 days a month to live on the absolute minimum. This is not a punishment. It is a joyful act of liberation, a vaccine against the fear of poverty. You are proving to yourself over and over that your happiness is not for sale. You are strengthening your contentment muscle and weakening the grip of consumerism on your soul. Third, create a philosopher's budget. Don't just track spending. Align your spending with your virtues. Ask, is this expense buying me freedom, like investing, or is it buying me chains, like consumer debt? Is this purchase in service of my values, or is it just an emotional impulse? Your bank statement should become a diary of your rational, virtuous choices. It becomes a tool for self-mastery. This is a lifelong journey, a path of daily practice. And on this path, we all struggle. We all fall prey to fear. We all feel the pull of that shiny new thing we don't need. The path of the Stoic is not about perfection. It is about progress, about getting up one more time than we fall. And it is a path that is easier to walk with others. We need a community of fellow travelers. And so, I want to ask you to share a piece of your journey. In the comments below, tell us, what is the one craving or desire that you feel has the strongest hold on your financial life? Is it the new car, the fear of missing out on a stock, the need for approval from others? By naming it, by bringing it into the light, we rob it of its power. Let's create a space of honesty where we can see we are not alone in these struggles. Your vulnerability in sharing can be a lantern for someone else who is stumbling in the same darkness. Let's use this comment section not for judgment, but for a collective practice of Stoic self-awareness. Let's build a community that encourages each other to want less, to live more, and to find the courage to walk this ancient, liberating path together. Your story is a vital part of this shared mission. This brings us to the concept of good debt versus bad debt. Seneca, who lent out vast sums of money, would have a clear-sighted view. Bad debt is any debt taken on to fuel a desire, to consume something you cannot afford. It is slavery, plain and simple. It is trading your future tranquility for a fleeting present pleasure. This is the debt of the fool, and it must be avoided and eliminated with ruthless prejudice. But what about good debt? Debt to buy a productive asset, like a business or perhaps a responsibly financed education or a modest home. Here, the Stoic would be cautious. They would apply reason. Is this debt a calculated tool for long-term freedom, or is it a disguised form of speculation or lifestyle creep? A mortgage on a home you can truly afford can be a rational choice. A mortgage on a McMansion to impress others is just a bigger, fancier cage. The key for the Stoic is to remain the master. The debt must be a tool you are using, not a weight that is crushing you. You must have premeditated the worst-case scenario. What if you lose your job? Can you still manage the payments? The Stoic takes on no obligation lightly. They value their peace of mind too highly to gamble it on a hopeful financial calculation. They plan for the worst and thus are free to enjoy the best. Let's talk about the end goal, retirement. Our culture has a strange view of this. We see it as a 30-year vacation at the end of a 40-year prison sentence. We endure decades of a life we may not love, all in hope of a golden age of future freedom. Seneca would be appalled. You are postponing the good life, he would say. You are living for the future, and the future is not yours to claim. The Stoic goal is not retirement. The Stoic goal is to build a life you don't need to retire from. A life where your work is meaningful, aligned with your purpose. A life where you have enough and are free from the craving for more. Financial independence is the tool that allows this. It gives you the FU money, not to be rude, but to have the power to say no to work that violates your soul, to projects that misalign with your values. This is Senecan retirement. It is not an age, it is a state of being. It is the ability to wake up each day and deploy your time, your energy, and your mind according to your own rational, virtuous principles. This is a goal you can and must work toward today. You do it by simplifying your life. You do it by building your financial fortress, and you do it by cultivating your inner world so that you are good company for yourself, regardless of your employment status. This is why Seneca, though fabulously wealthy, never retired. He was active until his dying day, writing, advising, teaching. His work was his purpose. His wealth simply gave him the freedom to pursue that purpose without worrying about his next meal. That is the true goal. We build wealth not to stop, but to be free to start doing the work that truly matters to us. The modern FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, captures some of this, but it can easily fall into the same trap. It can become a joyless, obsessive pursuit of a number marked by extreme deprivation. The Stoic would gently correct this. The FI, financial independence part, is pure wisdom. But the RE, retire early part, is only valuable if you are retiring to something, to a life of purpose, study, and contribution. The goal is not to lie on a beach. The human soul is not built for idleness. It is built for purposeful action. As Seneca said, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. Financial independence is the ultimate tool to give you the time and space to do that learning, to pursue that purpose, to live a life of virtue, unbound by the chains of financial necessity. It is the means, not the end. The end is a good, tranquil, and virtuous life. We must also touch on generosity. Seneca, being wealthy, was a great philanthropist. He saw wealth as a tool for doing good. For the Stoic, money that is hoarded is dead. It is useless. Money that is spent on foolish desires is worse than useless. It is harmful. But money that is used wisely to help others, to support your community, to create opportunities, is money that is alive. It is money being put to its highest, most virtuous use. This is a crucial part of a healthy relationship with money. If we only see money as something to accumulate for our own security, it becomes a source of fear and scarcity. We become dragons, jealously guarding a pile of gold we never use. But if we see money as a flow, a tool for contribution, our mindset shifts to one of abundance and purpose. Generosity is the antidote to the poison of greed. And you do not need to be wealthy to be generous. You can be generous with your time, with your attention, with a kind word. But as you build your financial fortress, you can also be generous with your money. This is, in fact, the ultimate expression of financial freedom. You have enough, and you have more than enough, and you can now use that surplus to practice the virtue of justice, of helping your fellow man. This completes the picture. The Stoic investor is not a miser, pinching every penny in fear. And they are not a gambler, chasing every hot stock in greed. They are a rational, disciplined, and virtuous master of their own mind and their own money. They have conquered their desires. They have prepared for misfortune, and they are using their resources in service of a life of purpose, freedom, and contribution. They are, in a word, free. They are free from the anxiety that plagues the modern world. They are free from the chains of debt. They are free from the whispers of consumerism. They are free from the emotional roller coaster of the market. They have built an inner citadel that is truly unshakable, and their financial life is simply an expression of that inner strength and peace. This is a radical redefinition of wealth. It is not a number. It is a state of being. It is the tranquility that comes from wanting what you already have. It is the resilience that comes from knowing you can endure hardship. It is the freedom that comes from mastering your impulses. It is the purpose that comes from aligning your money with your values. This is the wealth that Seneca's letters offer us. This is a striking contrast to the financial gurus of our own age. They promise you financial domination or the secret to 100x returns. They speak to your greed and your fear. They offer complex systems and secret knowledge. Seneca offers something far more powerful and far more simple. He offers you the key to your own mind. He offers you self-mastery. And he promises that from this one single source, all true wealth and happiness will flow. The world will tell you to think big. Seneca tells you to want little. The world tells you to hustle harder. Seneca tells you to live deeper. The world tells you to watch the market. Seneca tells you to watch your own mind. This is the great inversion of values that Stoicism provides, and it is the only path to a financial life that is not just rich, but good. So let us return to the image of the letter, a message in a bottle floating across 2 millennia of history to land on the shore of our anxious modern world. It is a letter from a friend who has seen the emptiness of material wealth, who has faced ruin and exile, and who has discovered a different way, a path to an inner peace so profound that no external event can disturb it. This path is not easy. It is a via ardua, a hard road. It requires daily vigilance. It requires you to swim against the powerful current of your culture. It requires you to do the hard internal work of confronting your fears, taming your desires, and training your own mind. It is the work of a lifetime, but it is the most important work you will ever do. Every time you pause before buying something you don't need, you are walking the path. Every time you make your automatic investment, regardless of the scary headlines, you are walking the path. Every time you face a financial setback with calm reason instead of panic, you are walking the path. You are not just managing your money, you are forging your character. You are becoming a philosopher in action. This is how you build a life of genuine financial independence. It is built not on a lucky stock pick or a sudden windfall. It is built brick by brick with small daily acts of discipline, wisdom, and courage. It is a fortress you build inside yourself, and once it is built, you are safe, you are free, you are, in the truest sense of the word, wealthy. This wisdom is not theoretical, it is a practical guide. It is a call to action. It is an invitation to begin today to live differently, to see your financial life not as a source of stress, but as the ultimate training ground for your own character. To see your budget as a philosophical text and your bank account as a tool for your freedom. Imagine the person you could become, a person who is calm in the midst of chaos, a person who is generous, not grasping, a person who is free, not trapped, a person whose self-worth is totally disconnected from their net worth, a person who is, in their very being, a rebuke to the anxious, grasping consumerist world. This is the person Seneca is inviting you to become. This is the Stoic guide to financial independence. It is not a secret. It is not complex. It is simple. It is hard. And it is the only thing that has ever truly worked. Conquer your desires, master your mind, free your soul. The rest is just accounting. I want to take a moment to reflect on how this ancient wisdom can directly shield us from the most toxic elements of modern finance. Consider the gambling epidemic, the rise of sports betting apps and online casinos. These are, in essence, Seneca's nightmare. They are engines of pure, unadulterated impulse, divorced from all reason and value. They are attacks on the unstoic mind. The gambler is the perfect anti-stoic. They are a complete slave to hope and fear. They place their well-being in the hands of pure chance, an external they have zero control over. They are chasing the big score that they believe will solve all their problems, not realizing they are digging a deeper and deeper pit. They are sacrificing their real, present money for a desperate, unlikely future. Seneca would look at this with profound pity. He would see a person who has completely lost their inner citadel, a person who is being dragged along by their most base appetites, a slave to the dopamine hit of the win. The Stoic path is the only antidote. It is the cultivation of the rational mind, the part of you that can step back and see the game for what it is, a rigged system designed to prey on your lack of self-control. A person practicing Stoicism, even imperfectly, cannot become a problem gambler. The philosophy is a direct vaccine. Why? Because the Stoics' goal is tranquility, and gambling is the enemy of tranquility. The Stoics' goal is self-mastery, and gambling is the definition of self-abandonment. The Stoic values only what they can control, and the gambler is obsessed with what they cannot. The same applies to the cryptocurrency frenzies we see. The people who invest their life savings into a meme coin with no underlying value, simply because it is going up fast. This is not investing. This is a digital casino. It is pure greed, pure fear of missing out. It is the crowd madness that Seneca warned against. The Stoic investor stays far away, sticking to their rational, long-term plan, unswayed by the mania of the mob. Seneca's wisdom is not just a nice-to-have. In our modern world, it is a survival kit. It is the mental armor you need to protect yourself from a financial system that has become expert at monetizing your weaknesses, your impulses, and your anxieties. His letters are not just philosophy, they are a practical guide to self-defense in the 21st century. This is why this work is so important. This is why we are building this community. We are not just learning about an ancient Roman. We are learning how to survive and thrive in a world that is actively hostile to our peace of mind and our financial well-being. We are arming ourselves with reason, with discipline, and with a definition of wealth that can never be taken from us. Let's consider the concept of enough. This is perhaps the most powerful word in the Senecan financial lexicon. Our society never, ever wants you to feel that you have enough. The moment you do, the entire engine of consumerism grinds to a halt. You stop being a good consumer. The system is designed to make you feel perpetually not enough. The act of a Stoic, then, is to rationally and intentionally define their enough, to sit down and calculate not what they want, but what they truly need to live a good, free life. A life with a comfortable, modest home, good food, time for family, time for learning, the ability to handle an emergency. Once you have this number, this enough point, you have a finish line. You are no longer running an infinite race. When you have defined your enough, you have broken the spell. You can now look at the billionaire with his yacht and his rocket ship, not with envy, but with a kind of detached curiosity, perhaps even pity. You can see a man who, by Seneca's definition, is desperately poor because his cravings are limitless. You, on the other hand, by defining your enough, have become truly, profoundly rich. You have what you need, and you know you have what you need. This is the ultimate financial independence. It is not a number. It is the click in your brain when you shift from I need more to I have enough. This is the moment you are free. This is the moment you have won the game. From this point forward, all additional money is just a bonus, a tool for generosity, a way to add a margin of safety. But it is not a necessity for your happiness. This is the peace that Seneca was writing about. It is the unshakable mind. It is the tranquility of the sage, who, as he said, though he may prefer to have riches, is indifferent to them. He can take them or he can leave them. His happiness is not in them. His happiness is in his virtue, his reason, his mastery of himself. This is the promise. This is the goal. This journey changes everything. It changes how you see your job. It is no longer just a grind to get more stuff. It is a place to practice virtue, diligence, honesty, cooperation, and a means to build your fortress of freedom. It changes how you see the markets. They are no longer a source of terror, but a tool, a mechanism for compounding your savings, to be used rationally and without emotion. It changes how you see things. The new phone, the expensive clothes, they lose their shimmer. You see them as they are, depreciating assets. You become far more interested in assets that appreciate: your skills, your knowledge, your relationships, your character, and your investments. You start to unconsciously live your life like a true investor, putting your resources into things that grow in value. This is the power of a single ancient idea, the idea that your inner world is more important than your outer world, that the state of your mind is more valuable than the state of your bank account, that mastering your desires is the only path to mastering your life. This is the core of Seneca's letters on wealth. It is a message that has echoed through the ages, and it has landed here With us, today, we have a choice. We can continue to live as slaves to our anxieties and our appetites, running on the treadmill, forever chasing a more that will never satisfy. We can continue to let our peace be dictated by the chaotic noise of the financial world. We can continue to be the fools that Seneca described, mastered by our own money. Or we can choose the other path, the hard path, the via ardua. We can choose to become masters of ourselves. We can choose to define enough. We can choose to build our inner citadel, to practice our virtues, to live a life of reason and purpose. We can choose to use money as the slave and to make our freedom the master. We can choose to become the wise men and women that Seneca knew we all had the capacity to be. This is not a quick fix. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a get-wise, slow process. It is a daily practice, a constant returning to these core principles. It is a commitment to yourself, to your own peace, to your own freedom. It is the most important investment you will ever make. The returns are not measured in dollars. They are measured in a currency that truly matters, a tranquil mind. So let us make a pact, you and I, and the community we are building here. Let us agree to walk this path. Let us agree to question the hollow promises of our culture. Let us agree to do the hard internal work. Let us agree to hold each other accountable, to share our struggles and our victories, and to remind each other over and over of what is truly valuable. Let us become modern Stoics. Let us read these letters from Seneca not as history, but as a manual for living. Let us take this ancient wisdom and forge it into a modern life of unshakable peace, profound purpose, and genuine financial independence. The journey begins now, with your very next choice. Think about the legacy you want to leave. Do you want to be remembered for the things you accumulated, or for the character you built? For the money you made, or for the wisdom you embodied? For the anxieties you held, or for the tranquility you radiated? Seneca's letters are a guide to building a legacy of the soul. The ultimate financial independence is to be independent from your finances. To know, in your deepest core, that you would be okay, that your character would hold, that you would still be you, whether you were rich or poor. This is the freedom that philosophy gives. This is the wealth that no one can take from you. This is the gift of Seneca. Thank you for walking this path with me today. Thank you for your time, your attention, and your willingness to explore these life-changing ideas. This is not just a video. It is an invitation, one that I hope you will accept. The road is long, but we will walk it together. If this journey and this mission are important to you, please, one last time, subscribe to our channel and like this video. It is the single best way to support this work and to ensure these messages of wisdom can reach others who are lost in the financial noise. We publish new videos every single day, ready to guide and support you on your path. Thank you for being here.